Obviously, there's Lyra and Grace, but until level 6, only Lyra will give you any form of healing. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that is a priority ban. But then again, Lance is always an option to try and get rid of or try and first pick on A side.
Definitely, I mean, Lance is quite the powerhouse in terms of the captains on the foes right now. He provides similar utility to that of Catherine, except for the fact that he is one of those reliable check into Catherine, with Githyan Wall being readily available. On top of that as well, being able to keep you on the spot for prolonged periods of time is just so valuable to any team comes out there, especially with the rise of, or rather with still the stable usage of mages like that of Scarf, all in all. And on top of that as well, Lance just synergizes so well with a lot of the heroes, the very relatable meta heroes in the foes in 2.8 at least, like that of Castro, Scarf, like I mentioned before, even Celeste. Lance just does such a good job trying to zone anybody that tries to dive onto your carries. But we'll be seeing a Grace being banned out.
Yeah, it is likely now that Infamous are going to ban Guy. They might, ban this Lyra. Obviously, we saw Guy in the last. I think with Grace being banned, the next ban is most likely to be Lyra. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like a Catherine or Lance or Glaive, and they are going to go for Catherine. That does make sense. Leaving Lyra open to be picked if they want to. But then again, 501st Legion sometimes like to put the emphasis on Lance instead. So interesting to see what they're going to go for.
Yeah, I mean, Lyra will be picked up for the side of 501st Legion. Looks like teams do value the early game sustain that Lyra brings out. However, for Infamous will have moving on from their X and would settle for that Lance, which is, at this point in time, we've seen very good Lance plays coming up from quarter 4. Lance, however, in this game for the side of Infamous will be played by Tezzaboy. Tezzaboy himself, he has got a couple of weaknesses, all in all, but we do not doubt his roaming capabilities. Coming out from Infamous, the next ban would be that of Celeste, a rather valuable ban, removing a very good mage from the field.
Yeah, definitely. Celeste ban does indicate they want to do a Scarf pick. That's obviously a pretty simple draft for Infamous to do. So in response, 501st going to ban the Scarf, and Infamous clearly were expecting that Scarf ban, and I assume if Scarf wasn't banned, they were going to pick it. If Scarf was banned, their plan was to just get the Idris, and Infamous can play Idris in multiple different ways. They've played it weapon with a CP Taka. They pretty much came up with that composition, and they could also just play it CP against this Glaive, would work quite well. And then we've got a couple of weapon junglers left. You've got a Cruel, you've got Black Feather, you've got Kestrel, Jewel, loads of weapon power junglers. Probably not Fortress for Infamous to ban their comp out with. And I think it would be smart for 501st now to finish with maybe a Samuel, maybe a CP Kestrel. Would work really well for their final pick.
I'm not surprised if 501st actually goes for that Ozo. It's a very long shot, but Ozo at this point in time, I think he is quite relatable in the meta. A lot of burst, a lot of tankiness as well, and can basically stay in fights for a very long time. But however, we will be seeing yet again another Sky, and this will definitely put a smile on iRequest a duo's face.
Yeah, Sky is slowly creeping back into the meta in Southeast Asia. Obviously, that's going to be a CP Sky as we receive a smiley face from iRequest to Jewel. And I think as a final pick against this Sky, you don't really need to specifically counter her. They could obviously go for the Taka. That would work really well on just going in against Sky. But I still think a poke hero like a Samuel would still work. Would work well if they want to do weapon Idris. But they are going to go for the Taka. That's the really smart pick from Infamous. A, it's a comfort pick for them, a comfort comp for them to play, and B, it works really well against the Sky that they're up against. So I think I want to go for Infamous for this draft, but I would love it if they go for a weapon Taka with Spell Sword and a CP for the Sky, even though Taka has a mortal wound, and it looks like it is going to be CP Idris and a weapon Taka. Would you, Luxuria?
I am honestly, if you would ask me, I am very, very happy to actually see weapon Taka and of course CP Idris, because we've mentioned it before. Taka usually want to build 2 weapon blades in their early game, but it's not economical in whatever sense, unless of course you can snowball really, really hard. However, for Chingy, this time he settles for the oak card. and a weapon blade. What do you think? I mean, it's possible that Chingy would just go for the Storm Crown, Aftershock, and dual CP?
Generally, you don't see that a lot, because Cassandra's going to take a lot of damage. I do agree, don't tend to see Storm Crown on a weapon power attacker, but Storm Crown's there for clear speed, weapon attacker has a completely acceptable clear speed, and so it does suggest it might be an on-hit attacker, Tension Bow, Aftershock, Storm Crown. Probably not in that order, probably Tension Bow, Storm Crown, Aftershock. And that could work against Revenger X, because he's not going to build any defense. You can see 4 crystal bits already. It's very unlikely that there'll be any defense on Revenger X. So on-hit attacker could work just as well. I really would have liked to have seen the proper weapon power with a tension bow, solar blade, maybe, and a spell sword. Because I just think a spell sword is really an underused item. We might see Cassandra pick one up, but they're on heroes where it works well. It works really well. Shingy's going to secure that treant, and no one wants to fight just yet.
Yep, I mean, Spell Sword works very well on that of Glaive as well, but we do not see a lot of Glaive picking up Spell Sword in general, because they just cannot justify the amount of damage it puts out and its price as well. It's one of the more expensive items out there in relation to the amount of weapon power it provides. Granted, it gives you quite a lot of cooldown, and on top of that, the passive is very invaluable to any heroes, any weapon carries that uses a lot of energy in that of early game, especially that of Glaive, and on top of that, Taka as well. But Taka will be going for that Storm Guard banner in that very early game. Yeah,
it looks like they've changed it around, and Spaghetti's going to go weapon and Taka's going to go crystal. Because Spaghetti's now started off with a crystal bit, and then went to shop, and now bought a weapon blade. And so this is a really interesting. Maybe we're going to see a hybrid build on Spaghetti. We really don't know what Infamous are going to do. Obviously, this is the first match we've seen of them on 2.8. Xingyi is being very sneaky, going to Sky's backs, and that is the spawning of the backs. Xingyi is going to take him. He's noticed that they have spawned. Now, Revenger X is going to be quite annoyed when he realises his backs have gone, but he's not going to try and stop the port from Xingyi. So, what do you think? What do you think is going on with Spaghetti? Is he going weapon now, and we're going for the CP Tekka?
Oh, I think that would be that's going to happen, because Xingyi will be going for the Storm Crown first as the first item. We see that chronograph pickup, the Storm Guard banner. On top of that, as well, Spaghetti has settled for a Book of Eulogies, and on top of that, a weapon blade. I'm not too sure as to what the crystal bit will provide in that early game. Maybe a little more chakram damage, but all in all,
maybe maybe he's going to go for the divergent paths and try and get range basics, and just maybe build a shatter glass out of that crystal bit. Or it's probably just going to be sold. Maybe it was a misbuy. Well, I'm sure we can speculate for a long time, but we're just going to have to wait till late game to see. There was a massive gold lead for Infamous. They're already 1k ahead, and nothing seems to have happened. Xingyi, yes, got the backs from Avenger X, but somehow Spaghetti is even on farm, and they've just managed to out-rotate 501st Legion because they just have a 1k gold lead.
Yeah, it's just down to rotation, and granted, all together, it is rather even on farm.
There's the level 6 damage from Taka on to Cassandra, and Xingyi's now going to try and back off. I think they're probably going to push the lane and then rotate to their backs, or maybe do a sentry rotation. It's interesting what Infamous are going to do. They know Glaive can't really contest. Healing Flask was used, and Glaive going to be back to full health. Taka, a little bit of damage onto the turret. It's now down to about half health. Nice afterburn. That could be Xingyi in trouble. There's going to be a death from above. Tezzaboy going to have to boots away. There is a fountain available, and Excel's already used his. So the fountain's now used by Tezzaboy. Keep everyone healthy. Auto wound onto Revenger X. It looks like Infamous just want to try and push this tier 1 turret. Glaive was forced to port home. And now Infamous going to go in. X-Retsu actually onto Sky, not onto the turret. Easy kill for Xingyi. And now that will be a tier 1 turret for Infamous and a first blood.
Yep, that would be the first blood, and translated immediately into a tier 1 turret for the side of Infamous. Infamous at this point in time playing very, very well, and they will proceed and continue their siege and push as well, taking the Crystal Sentry just 5 minutes 40 in. very well played coming up from Infamous, and they have swap sides, or rather they have swap build. It's probably a misbuy coming up from Spaghetti in that of the early game, and now we do see Chingy going for the Crystal Power build, and of course Spaghetti going for the weapon. But all in all, I must say, it kind of amazes me as to how they are playing as a team, because like I said, it was when roster lock was lifted, when Spaghetti, or rather Infamous, took Popeyes in as a team, so they basically merged all together, and I was really interested to see as to how they will be playing as a team together, because there was no news whatsoever as to when or why they will be merging. But all in all, I always thought that from the merge time, I always thought that it was quite a good pickup coming up from Infamous.
Yeah, and there's going to be the XSC from Taka, a little bit of damage, but there's way more going on. Getty full in Boy, and they're going to go on through direction. A little bit stuck, but that's going to be a kill by Lance, actually picking up Revenger X. Dave's going to try and run away. Will it be enough? Cassandra's trying to run. It looks like with the healing flask, he will be able to run away. And now Spaghetti wants to try and push the wave in. Going to be a Sword Blade, and there will be a Spell Sword from Glaze. Tension Bow Spell Sword. Now he's going to try and go on to Tezboy. Spaghetti has got Sword Blade and going to build into Poison Shiv, second item. Cassandra is waiting in the bush. He wants to make the play. Spaghetti going to jump in, get the barrier. Cassandra forced to afterburn defensively, and that will be nothing coming out apart from kill traded.
Yep, honestly, Infamous at this point in time. If Taka, what happened then was Taka really diving in too deep, took too much damage coming out from Revenger X on that Sky. I mean, just looking over the Revenger X's build, he has got a Frostburn, got a Piercing Shot as well. Not a lot of damage, but Chingy at the point in time was locked on, if I remember correctly, if I'm not seeing things wrong. Took a lot of damage from Revenger X and Cassandra as well. Cassandra settled for the Spell Sword, like you said.
Then there's going to be the X-Retsu going on to Cassandra. He has actually not got a lot of defense. Trying to burst down anyone, probably Taka. There's Protect Contract going to go in once again. Rare damage, only a Storm Crown for damage on Chingy, so it's really not. Tezboy going very low. Thus, meanwhile, Chingy diving in onto Avenger X. There's the Shimmer Strike, there's the Chakram picking up a kill onto Sky, and Glaive is somehow not being able to pick up Tezboy. He will get the kill finally, but Chingy is diving in. Still, not much considerable damage. It took 3 X-Retsus for Sky to even become partially low with this Storm Crown Taka build. He's going to be able to secure that minion. Nope, it is actually taken by Excel. Now again with the right bulwark. Spaghetti wants to go in. There's Chakram, nice afterburn from Glaive. This Spell Sword really doing him well, because he hasn't run out of energy and has been able to keep afterburning, whereas normally a weapon Glaive would have run out of energy far before now. So I think it's a really smart pick from Cassandra.
Yep, at this point in time, Chingy really needs that Aftershock. If not, then immediately building into a Shatter Glass. That is something that I've seen quite recently. Although that Aftershock provides a lot of cooldown, a lot of energy regen, but I mean, some players just prefer that high burst damage that Shatter Glass will provide. But Chingy will settle for that Aftershock at this point in time, possibly building into a Broken Myth as well, coming into the mid-late game. So that way Chingy would have more damage, like we saw earlier on. Chingy adds Retsu in onto Revenger X, followed by a basic attack, Kaiten through, and Revenger X is not quite dead yet. And with that, they are punished for that as well, because Tezboy is left alone with Glaive.
Yep, he is, and Glaive's going to go very low. That does land. She needs to go back, wait for that X, come back up. Completed, and going to go in. There's the Idris delivery system onto Sky. Will it be a kill? Yes, it will, with the Chakram. And now Cassandra's the next target. Spaghetti's going very healthy. The Fountain and Healing Flask combo just got him back to full health like it was nothing. And another 2 kills for Infamous. Excel will easily be able to get away. Wait, Shingy's seen you. Excel's the minions. Excel's allowed to port home, but that will be a tier 2 turret, probably a sentry, and entire jungle rotation for Infamous. They are just snowballing this game.
They are definitely snowballing, although there was a couple of mistakes here and there. But overall, they are playing relatively well as compared to... I mean, I was expecting a little more coming off from 501st Legion. They got second from the Challenger League, but... Challenger Series, but all in all, I personally thought that they were a very good team. Like, before the stream even started, or rather not before the stream started, but before the first match even started, I was talking about how Cassandra and Revenger X, they appeared in the VIPLs a couple of seasons or even 3 or 4 seasons back, and they were one of the stronger teams in Southeast Asia. In fact, Revenger X actually played for Hunters, and Cassandra actually played for Infamous. So they were one of the stronger teams in Southeast Asia then, and I was expecting quite a lot from them. However, Chingy and the amount of pressure that Infamous is putting out on them, Spaghetti though.
Spaghetti is going to go in, and there's going to be death going very low, going to fall to the attacker. Yes, he will. Sandra, what 501st Legion are able to do, they just keep going in, keep dying, and Spaghetti with 3 damage items already, working towards an Aegis, is just countering Revenger X so hard. This will be another Crystal Sentry for Infamous, and they know how to do this Idris Taka comp. They've done it, even though it's different people, it just feels like exactly the same team, and they're playing it well. They've done once with the Idris Shimmer Strike inside the Taka ultimate, went inside the Taka Kaku, and then Exuetsu to bring Idris onto the back line. I don't think that Excel should try and steal this. No, they're going to let it go. And I think 501st, they need to make a fight, because if they don't fight, they're just going to be losing jungle. They're just going to lose their final sentry and go to a 10k gold deficit. So they need to just find something, find a good fight, catch someone out, and then they have a chance to turn this around.
But with this high amount of deficit that 501st is in, I don't think picking a fight at this point in time would be beneficiary to them. Because let us think about it. We have Lyra on 501st, and you think that Bright Bolt would actually stop any advancement coming up from the side of Infamous, but unfortunately...
We go boots from Spaghetti, and Cassandra's going to get afterburn. He's going to get him more than afterburn over the... Well, that's on to Avenger X, but no follow-up at boots used by Avenger X, and Taka going invisible. There's going to be Expressive going to Avenger X. That's massive damage. Now Taka's got that heavy prism, and that's an easy kill onto Avenger X. Next, afterburn won't be enough. A block from Spaghetti, that'll be a double, and Excel is gonna portal over the wall, and they're not gonna chase into the base. I think that's the 3rd time that Revenger X and Cassandra have died, and Excel's just been able to get away. It's even possible that Infamous are gonna just win this game without getting an ace. And the reason why I said the 501st should take a fight now is because if they just wait and farm up, then they're going to be fighting under Kraken. Whereas now they're fighting, they lose their tier 3 turret and the sentry, but they don't give away the Kraken and probably the game. They need to find something to turn this around. They can't just be passive, or else the game will continue as it is. So I do like what 501st Legion are trying.
Yeah, I mean, they can obviously try to something away from Infamous, but Infamous at this point in time just looks so strong, and there is really nothing much. I mean, they tried, and like I said earlier on, Lara seems to have the entirety of a kit to stop anybody from diving in. She has got a Bright Bulwark, she has got an Imperial Sigil for the speed boost, and got an Arcane Passage as well. And yet, Taka, or rather Chingy and Spaghetti, can just dive in without a can this well and just take out Revenger X on that Sky immediately. Very close to immediately, a couple of Etretsu or Etretsu into Kaitan. But there you go.
Yeah, we're going to go Cassandra taking so much damage, and actually Chingy on the backline is going to found it healthy, but quite enough. Spaghetti's going to come in, secure the last hit, and that will be a gold mine before the Kraken spawns, and probably a Kraken straight away for Infamous as well, just to try and close this game out. And I think the point of Lyra's really good at stopping someone diving in is a good point, but I think Grace is far better at that. Because if you use your Divine Intervention on Revenger X before Taka goes in with the Exuetsu, you're going to 40% damage reduction on any burst they try and do. And Cassandra picking up Idris. He's caught out of position trying to push the wave. And can Cassandra do it? Revenger X is back up. Shingy's going to have to back off under turret and just try and clear these minions away. That could be a really good turning point. Nice shutdown on Idris. He was 7-0, so that's easily 600 gold onto Cassandra. And this could be the turning around that they need. There's the afterburn going to go onto Tezaboy. Taka going in with the Exuetsu, and Shingy's going to dodge before barrage, but he can't dodge forever. Good block onto the left and above. He would have been caught out there if not for the reflex block. And now 501st Legion going to try and go in with the afterburn, but a lovely echoed Gideon wall just to keep Cassandra away. Idris is now respawned, and Taka wants blood. No, he's just going to go and farm. Going back to my point, I still think Grace is better than Lyra because of the damage reduction as well as the heal.
Yeah, but then again, 501st Legion banned out Grace first, so they do not quite have that option. They think that Lyra is a much better pickup, and thus they banned out that Grace, picked up that Lyra. But all in all, I get where you're coming from because of the 40% damage reduction. And one more thing as well is that Cassandra plays a very reliable Grace, all in all. And, you know, coming into this matchup as well, that we know that Infamous, they are infamous for, you know, this Tarka delivery or Idris delivery system, and yet it was allowed through. In fact, it was made it so that, you know, I mean rather 501st...
It was a good pick, wasn't it? It was a good counter pick to go to their comfort position.
Yes, that's why, because 501st drafted in such a way that it allows the comp to go through, right? They picked up the Glaive into an Idris, very good, but then they picked up a Sky afterwards, and Taka is definitely that go-to choice.
Yeah, speaking of Taka going to go in onto Avenger X, he is not going to fall, just about 1v1 between Glaive and Idris. Now what can Cassandra do? He's got an afterburn, but that is going to be his captain falling, and the problem is that the target focus just isn't there for 501st Legion. Avenger X is trying to kite Taka, which is exactly what has to happen. Cassandra tries to 1v1 Idris. Idris got a metal jacket, Cassandra hasn't. So Idris is going to win that 1v1. And then Idris goes, I've had enough of you, Cassandra, I'm just going to go on Sky. Afterburn for Steel, not going to happen. Idris manages to secure it, and that's an interesting echo on the Impale. Defensor Boy, not quite going to land onto Cassandra, and I think there's going to have to be some really properly overpowered plays from 501st Legion to defend this Kraken. And actually, Cassandra could be caught out. He's got an afterburn, so he'll be okay. But Sky is going to do full barrage poke. There's the Idris. There's the Taka blocked by the Bright Bulwark, but it's not enough. That will be a kill onto Avenger X, and that's another kill onto the Glaive. Double for Idris. Can he get the triple by diving into the base? No, he will not. But that will be game 1 going to Infamous.
Yep, and rubbing salt onto the wounds when Targa finished Revenger X on that Sky in the previous team fight with an add threat to the damage numbers that showed up was 501.
It was as well.
So that is just rubbing salt onto the wounds, but I guess it is good game. Very well played for Infamous, whereas for drafting wise, 501st could have done a tad better. I mean, from the previous season itself, this is one of the comms that teams try to remove or take away from Infamous, and generally you not want Infamous to pick up this comm. Granted, the rosters have changed for Infamous, but all in all, it is still one of the comms that